Welcome to Facebook Live, ideasmakelove.com, a conversation with Tom.
Hi there.
Hey. And so we're actually having, it is episode 46. I've just actually collated all the episodes that we've done over the last year, so making some waves. It's good. But today we're going to talk about chakras and specifically having them be a map for our experience. So just going to riff a little bit. Keen to have your input as well, guys. If you have anything to contribute, any questions, ask away. This magical magician himself knows quite a bit about it, and I'm keen to join in the discussion. So, yeah, man, do you want to start riffing?
Yeah. So I sort of had this insight recently that the way the chakras align makes a really good model for the way that we have experiences. And by overlaying that over our experience, it can help us identify areas where we might have blockages and they're not really processing an experience. So obviously, the chakras starting with the root chakra and then moving up through the system from the sacral, solar plexus to the heart, to the throat, third eye, and then the crown. So we have an experience in the physical reality. And then once we've had that experience, that's like the root chakra, so that's the physical reality. We then feel that experience in the sacral chakra, so we have a feeling of that experience. And then moving up to the solar plexus, then we are able to have an egoic kind of thought-based understanding and opinion on that experience for ourselves. Coming up into the heart, then we learn to then accept that experience as that it's happened to us. In the throat, we purify that experience and gain a deeper understanding of sort of where its value was after we've accepted both the good and the bad parts of it in the heart. And then in the third eye, then we reach the complete integration of that experience. Finally, we move up to the crown chakra where we move on to the infinite and more experiences. And then we just repeat this cycle over and over again as the energy moves up through our system.
I love it. And even as that energy could move up in between you and a partner, figure eight.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
David Data speaks about that in one of his courses. So, yeah, that's excellent stuff, man. So, guys, just chime in if you have anything to ask around this. Maybe we can even take it sort of from the bottom up and sort of think about maybe one particular experience or some kind of example of what it would feel like to have something make its way through those parts. Yeah,
definitely. So I mean, it can be applied to any experience. I think that maybe you have lunch with somebody, so that's quite a complex experience in and of itself. There's like social interaction and the sensory interaction. So we experience that. There is the act of lunch and
the event
itself happening at the root chakra. Sacral chakra, then it's like this experience of that and, how we feel about that, the tastes and the emotive responses that we have to that person as well. These things are happening for us, as that experience is going on. And then we process that. Now, there's an option there to experience blockages, right? Once we move out of the physical, and then, if you're having these emotive and sensual experiences, you might be in rejection of them. So you're going to have a blockage there, and that's going to prevent integration of that experience properly.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to think that each of the different chakras actually reference, different areas of life and different aspects of life as well. So it's almost like, there would be more blockage at those particular points.
Exactly right.
And so therefore even, something like, a sense of sexuality in the sacral chakra, there could and would be blocks across a sexual experience, but it's obviously focused around that point.
That's right. And it's kind of like becomes sort of, that's what I think is so powerful about, the Tantra system and the seven chakra system especially, is that it is so multidimensional, like there's this map for actually the having of an experience, but then also it maps over onto other things, like the different states of consciousness we can occupy and, certain traits that are associated with that. So it's very powerful in that way, and you can also find that you can have sort of almost like a fractal effect where a blockage around your sexuality then may also stop the emotive and sensory integration across the board.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, yeah, I'm with you. So it actually goes and impacts every aspect of one's life through that context.
Exactly, yeah. And I think that's why, one of the translations for Tantra is thread or weave. So, it's kind of like this understanding of the interconnectedness, essentially, of everything, and also the power of when we engage with tantric practices to be able to pull the thread on one part and then have that change the whole weave of our life. Even though it may seem like such a subtle thing, there's a lot of power there to create transformation.
Amazing, man. Such wisdom. I love it. So yeah, I'm thinking what else we can sort of spin on this, if there's any other aspects before we wind up. Yeah.
So I think, just like moving through the rest of the chakras and how that experience is, like those blockages can happen at any level. So, maybe you are okay with the sensual aspects of and emotive aspects of your experience, but, on an egoic level, you have trouble integrating that or, processing that. So, you're going to have blockages there. And then again, with acceptance in the heart, the inability to find the good and the bad out of even, or the good rather out of any experience, or the growth perhaps is better than good in the throat. And then, final integration in the third eye. So you can have those blockages all up and down your system. And I mean, to a greater or lesser degree, I think we all do have blockages through in each center throughout our
life.
system.
Yeah, just for living life. It's unavoidable. And so in the case of, I suppose in the case of actually resolving one of those blockages, what would you say would be one of the best ways to go about that?
I think that's so variable from person to person.
And on chakra to chakra, right?
And chakra to chakra, yeah.
Yes, it's more about a discovery process, just the awareness of this being the case, at least as a map that gives us a way of approaching our own development and sort of touching base with our different parts of our life and our body and our experience. Because I mean, I personally am not like a massive, chakras are this real quote unquote thing. I don't see, auras and stuff around people, unless in very special occasions I might see some pretty interesting auras around people. But for the most part, it's not something that's part of my everyday experience. But I found it to be such a powerful way to sort of get a strong overarching gaze upon my existence and to still use it as a frame of reference, for being able to sort of cast my awareness across each of those different points and cast my awareness across each of those different areas of my life and then be able to, open up around that or create some kind of expansion that allows that to sort of unblock, right?
Absolutely.
Which, it can just be the fact that my neurons are connected in a negative loop to certain thoughts. It's about releasing that particular thought. Even just from a psychological perspective, it can be very powerful to sort of use chakras as a mapping.
And I really think that like any words that we use, like whether you want to talk about like really esoteric like chakras or you want to overlay Kabbalah or whatever system you want, or whether you want to talk about like neuroscience and biology and kind of like a much more materialistic kind of map for reality, like there's the experience itself, like there is the reality, the manifestation.
The measurable experience and quantifiable experience.
And then there's the words we use to describe that, And I think that systems like Tantra and Kabbalah, they are sciences, and they were words that we use to describe phenomena from a particular viewpoint. And the material science words, they describe the phenomena from a different viewpoint. And you can't, it's not apples and apples, but like they have their place, and it's not really, I don't know, for me, it's not really about one being more real than the other. I think they both have equal validity as real reality.
Because what we believe is our truth. Right?
Exactly, yeah.
Perceived truth is, or agreed truth is truth. Not to mention our perceived truth.
Yeah.
Perception is projection, right? So, welcome to Leon and Dylan. We're looking at maybe wrapping up, unless you feel there's something we could sort of offer people to take away from this that they could start implementing.
I feel like if you have an awareness of the chakras as a model in this way, then it does give you like a bit of a meta-analysis that you can do. Like if you have an uncomfortable experience, then you can go, well, I had the experience, then I felt the experience and I was okay with that. And then I, got to my ego and my mind like couldn't accept the experience, or I just couldn't have deeper acceptance of that experience. And then you can see where do I have the blockages, and then that can give a trajectory to then look at healing and unblocking or whatever you need.
Awesome, man. Sounds good. Well, thank you everyone for joining us, and feel free to subscribe or click on notifications in either YouTube or Facebook so you can get notified about this next time. So thank you, Tom, for being on with us, and
Thanks for having me.
yeah, looking forward to any comments you guys have below, any questions you have, and thank you so much for coming on, man. It's you're a good friend, and I'm proud to say housemate as well. So it's great to have you with us and be in each other's space.
Yeah, live from the Temple of Badass.
That's right. Peace out, guys. Take care.